Hey there folks, and welcome to the next Grand GT7 weekly challenges of September week 4, in other words, September 26th to October 2nd. Starting with the Sunday Cup at Kyoto Driving Park, Miyabe. Which I am driving the Fiat 500F 1969, but with its base motor, because a lot of people do know when I did this vinyl, it had the bike motor. This is just the base motor. This one's made in mind for 125 miles per hour. In other words, microcar speed, or little cup so far. Because I will say, this is probably going to be the next one after when I get done with, which would be the 125 mile per hour. Which, yeah, basic cars locked mostly to 125 miles per hour. Although, I will say this one's kind of exception because I do have to up the gears just a tad, because I will say I had to stretch the gears for this one to even get to hit 125. Otherwise it hits like 123. Because I will say this is at max tune. This is like, there's like no other parts I can add to it at the end of the day, and that is hilarious. I will say I make sure it hits 125 because that is the one goal. I am walking most cars to 125. So it should, by draft theory, just hit 125, unless you take it a special stage route X and then take it downhill drafting. Then you probably could go over that. But at most, though, in a standard race, I would say it's most likely just going to hit 125. It should hit just that. But yeah. Yeah, this is the start of a new series in the future here. So example. Good God, the brakes did not want to work there. Yeah, I will note the brakes do not want to work on this one. Then again, I also had to put some weight into it because, yeah, I know this car drives very loose, and in order to fix that, you have to put weight ballast in the front. Big time. That way it helps against that loose factor it has going on there. And that's just by default body of the car at the end of the day. I guess there's one bit of it. I think it weighs only like 1,400 pounds, so it's not much. Or is it like 1,100? I can't remember. I might be thinking the Bach model here, because yeah, the Bach model is going to be the next car in the future here. But for now, it's the little Fiat 500F in my little pizzeria promotion. Yeah, I will say, no, actually it's kind of fine, because microcars, I could technically design them as much as I want to at the end of it, because they are little tiny race cars at the end of it. I emphasized on that very dearly, because they're in race parts up the wazoo, but they are not normal pedestrian cars. Even at this speed. So, it's going to be very interesting in regards. There's going to be some candidates that are just going to hit 125, are going to be interesting case. But for now, I'm going to hit the ones that hit the bare minimum and then go on up, basically. So yeah, we got our other candidates here, like the Fierce G, the CHRS, the Jimmy Sierra, JC, I believe. Aqua S, the Demio XD Touring, Aqua S again, and a Copen. Yeah, just Copen. So yeah, that's about it for this race at the end there. It's a normal, plain Jane fun race that introduced the CHRS, I believe, for this one. That's a wrap for the 500F at the end, eh? Little fun little pizzeria. Or on to the next one, which is the special event of this week. Which the special event is the Toyota FJ Land Cruiser, yeah. But that was a Toyota Land Cruiser FJ, which I decided to modify for this occasion. Which I will be showing the, I don't know, at the end of the day, it's technically the same car at the end of the day. The difference is I put vinyl design, because I will say this is the same one I just did for, the, god dang it, the showcase too, so just a sec. Crap, not smart. But yeah, the Land Cruiser FJ, a fun little car that hits about 125 miles per hour because its aerodynamics are not that good, and as a reminder, it is a relative to the Jeep at the end of the day. 'Cause this was Toyota's method, or I should say, rip off to the Jeep at the end of the day. Because this was Toyota's response to Willys at the end of the day. So, which, not against it, because, you know, someone's bound to at the end of the day, rip off at the end of the day, see if they make it better. Yeah, it's fine. It's just bound to happen. Some musics get ripped off, some games get ripped off. It's like, it goes one way or the other. It's just a matter of, at the end of the day, like, how much does the company want to squeeze before, you know, until a new one comes around and, you know, throws them away. So, and I'm technically all up for that at the end of the day, because I know that's a dirty tactic, but, I mean, look what you got here. You got a more nicer Jeep at the end of the day, technically, with a better motor, and heck, how can I say this is a Jeep at the end of the day? Look at the seats in the back. It has side seats in the back. Which, funny enough, like, even with the roll cage, people could probably sit in those seats. That's the best part. So, technically, for roll cages like this, side seats are good. If you want to know something, too. That's interesting. The person has to crawl into it, though, at the end of the day, but, you know. But yeah, the Land Cruiser, definitely a fun car. Probably one of the most reliability Toyotas around, I would say. Besides, I can think of, like, a Tundra or Tacoma or something like that, maybe. One of those Toyota crazy trucks out there. So then the famous one that was in Top Gear, I think that was a Tacoma or Tundra. It's one of the two. It's one. I think it's Tacoma because I think Tundra is the bigger one. Yeah. That's basically much to say about the Land Cruiser for this race, though. Basically, you see a bunch of 1-makes go at it, while which I will note, I don't think the wide body doesn't really change much. Cause yeah, I will say this doesn't have a wide body. This is also made for micro cars too in the future, so you'll be seeing this candidate as well. For fun case. But yeah, I will say I just started doing that series, so it's kind of good they brought up this car at the end of such. Which yeah, it's gonna be interesting because this is the update we're gonna have for a long while too. On top of it, because of the fact that they're going to do a Spec 3 update in December, which is gonna be a while, because just say that was update 1.64 and Spec 3 is 1.64. This is 1.63, so it's gonna be 3 months until we get that Spec 3 update. So something to note, and I hope a lot of people realize about that. I mean, if not, they might throw an update in between and make that Spec 3 1.65, which I kind of hope they did, but no, it sounds like Spec 3 is 1.64, which is weird. But yeah, that's basically Land Cruiser, though. It's a fun car to drive through the dirt and stuff. You know, I didn't really say much about it, but you know, it's a fun car at the end, though. But to the American Clubman Cup 700, though, at Watkins Glen Long Course. Watkins Glen Long Course. Yeah. I am driving the Dodge Challenger 1907, but not just any Dodge Challenger RT 1927. It's a Dodge Challenger with the Demon motor, because it now has the ability to have the Demon motor. Yeah, I had to look this up a bit further, thanks to GT Planet, for the info, and yeah, it got the Demon motor. There's also 2 other cars that got the Demon motor too, which is kind of weird because they're both Toyotas too, which you'll be seeing one of them at the near end here, I will say. But with the Demon motor, this basically causes the Challenger RT to be very fast and very accelerant, and I basically set it up for 200 miles per hour, so it is definitely detuned to what it normally is. Just a reminder that the Demon motor is 840 horsepower, so it's like, yeah, that needs to go down, because it's going to eat that fuel like no tomorrow. Because that's the biggest problem about the Demon Challenger. It's a drag motor. And you know what drag motors do? They eat fuel like for breakfast at the end of the day. And yeah, it needed to go down. So basically squeezed it down to like, I want to say 500, 400 here. You can check. You can always check the stats beforehand on the slides I show in advance. Because if you ever want to be more forthright about it, and say, I could be dead wrong about saying the sass sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the day. Yeah, I just have a little bit of drift race because yeah, this car can eliminate them like no problem. The problem is I don't really like the whole drifting aspect of this car because I must have tried to drift this like 3 times throughout this. This to aim the perfect amount when to drift and when not to drift about this car because this car is very touchy, very nose heavy, I would say. So not a great candidate because yeah, you can see how wild it gets and such. Yeah, I tried to understand the other, especially this first car. This first car, it eats that car during drifting here because like you see there, it tries to hop. I think it's just more of a matter of my body height is too low, so as a result, it's hopping when it hits that. Because you'll see next case here. But yeah, the Dodge Challenger RT is with the Demon motor is one heck of a machine, I'll say. I don't know if it really needs it at the end of the day because you had the rigger Hemi, but you know, I guess for more acceleration boost, there you go. Because I will say, I think that's what it really gave the most. It has more acceleration than ever. Because as Dodge basically took what was an really old motor at this point and kept on advancing it, and then now they're stuck doing it again because considering the Dodge Charger EV was a failure, big time. Huh, I wonder why. Maybe it's because it's electric. But yeah. And not only that, trying to force everyone's throat down with that electric car at the end of the day. It's like, that's not a good thing to do. Like, ever. You guys are supposed to be one of the most polluted, I don't know, I mean one of the fastest automotives around. And you're doing that, of all things. Nice try, guys. Just nice try. And I know it's not really Tech Dodge is doing. It's more Stellantis is doing. Since Stellantis technically owns Dodge at the end of the day, they're trying to find sugarcoating methods or try to screw things in, twist it over at the end of the day to try to provide a healthier take to the car at the end of the day, even though, you know, when you drive EVs in this game, if the fuel thing is on, that car ain't winning. As the saying goes. And that's the unfortunate part. Because otherwise, I would be in with the EV group if the fuel wasn't so bad burning. But unfortunately, of course, it burns fuel like no tomorrow for the EVs. That's why we did not got the Charger EV. But I do hope for that new Charger V8 though, or the V6. I wouldn't mind the V6 one. I was curious about that one. I'm really curious about that one. Call me crazy. Because I would love to see the V6 muscles because those don't get touched at all. And I understand that yeah, they're not meant to be high performance and stuff. But look, if Kaz is trying to touch pedestrian cars, I want to see pedestrian versions of those. I'm just gonna say that. I would like to see a regular Mustang. Because as the saying goes, the Corvette didn't start with the V8, by the way. It started with the V6, or inline 6, for that matter. I think it was a V6. I think it was V6, so excuse me on that. But to say though, the Mustang also was a V6. The Dodge. I don't know about Dodge, because Dodge might have been V8 throughout. On that matter. I know there probably has been cases though where there was V6s, and especially in the recent Chargers, they have V6s, which is very interesting. So I do wonder how good they are at the end of it. They can't be that terrible, I wouldn't think. But you know, it is what it is. But if there's another like pedestrian version of cars Kaz should really touch, I'd say those. Like, I would like to see a regular V6 Mustang, because I'm curious. I mean, I see people still have fun driving those up the end of the day, so you know. I mean, I must see like 2 90s Mustangs every now and then that have V6s, and you can definitely tell. I'm not against that at all. The thing is, I don't mind at all. I get what people mean though. The sound difference, a V8 definitely the better on that. But there might be a case where V6 might be better, and you'll never realize it. You'll be shocked, obviously. Also, because there has to be a case. I would think there would have to be a case on that. If a lot of people say V6s are a lot more solid and reliable than V8, there's gotta be some kind of thing to that, you know? And I like to see that. But yeah, so basically I have done the showcase update and stuff, and yeah, 5 cars, which is not bad, where 2 of them were a bit of a fluke, but 3 of them were outstanding, and like 1 of them surprised the heck out of me, because I thought it was going to be an electric sedan. No, it's an FF gas car, which I'm referring to as the Hyundai Elantra N. That is such a good car. Holy crap. I did not expect how good of a performance it is, and Honda be pissing its pants at the end of the day looking at that car. That car has to be destroying the Civic at the end of the day, because if there's one thing I noticed about that Hyundai FF, the torque steering, there isn't any of it even at the high horsepower. Or if there is, it's like bare minimum, because maybe because of the 8-speed transmission or what the heck. But I just know there is bare minimum of torque speed in that car. If you try to punch it up to 500, like I did punch up like 560 plus, I think. 569 maybe, I'm not sure. But it's like around those ranges at the end of it. And such. And that car is amazing, so I will toss some short bits of that. You know, I might as well, cause I don't know if people end up watching the showcase or not. So if you hear it one way, you hear it this way too. Which can be boring or annoying. I don't know. Not sure what to say. I'm trying to find things to say at the end, you know. Besides saying I'm sick, so you might hear me being congested and stuff, so apologize in advance about that, but it is what it is. And I might want to say a couple words anyways before it gets worse, because from what my sister, which she did it to me, what my sister sounds like, she doesn't sound much any better. So if you lost her voice for today, like, oh god, I might want to say some things before that starts happening to me. But I've been congested, and then, you know, my right ear's been filled every now and then. But it's fun. It's fun dealing with that. Stupid illnesses. Yep, so now just driving this Challenger to victory, which I will say this Challenger is in the auction, so if you want to get the Demon engine swap, you might want to try to get this as soon as you can. Then go. You probably got like 6 or 5 days outside. Maybe a lot shorter than that, I don't know. Doing those stupid auctions, and they don't really, you know, tell you how long until they're there. You know, really should. But yeah, that's it for the muscle one. Onto the World Rally Challenge at Eiger Nordwind Reverse. I am driving one of the rally cars I haven't driven and turned around and bought, which was the Hyundai Genesis Grade B. Because speaking of Hyundai, I decided to drive their rally car. Yeah, this rally car is pretty fun. Which, as the same thing goes, I tuned it to 200 miles per hour. Because every other car has been kind of tuned up to their mile per hour. Limits I'm going to give them at the end of it. This one is tuned to 200. So about like 590 horsepower, I think is what it was. Something like that. I will say I did fast chances, so it's possible it could be less or more than it needs to be. But for now, I just quick tune because I didn't want to take too much time. Because it takes about like 10 minutes for every time I have to quick tune it real quick if I don't have this car at the end of the day. So yeah. Yeah, the Genesis, definitely a fun one. So I think it literally has the same motor as the G7 for Genesis. Because yeah, it's kind of funny because Genesis is essentially Hyundai, but Genesis is the luxury side of Hyundai. So you'll see motors that comes from the Genesis Cube into the G70. Although, we'll say, much more retrained and stuff, because the G70 is like a much later year, where the Genesis Cube came out like 2015 or so, with the Dieta 1 or 2 motor, something like that. But I think G70 is 2. Such. But yeah. So I drive this to victory at the end of the day, which yeah, it's pretty easy with this car. Really easy. Because I will say, if you drive like one of the Group A rally cars in this, you might have a disaster of time. I should try to lance you on this, but I didn't bother to. Should have. I feel like I should have though on that matter, just to see if we can beat this at the end of the day. Because I know the present rally car had trouble doing it at the end of the day, which is weird. Very weird on that matter. Yeah, got a lot of classic relic. Well, I won't say classic relic. Well, I'd say in Gran Turismo's mindset classic, but you know. So you got a Mustang rally car, which is, why haven't they done this at this point? Why have they just turned around and made an all-wheel drive Mustang? That'd be insane. I would love that actually. Because Mustangs are known to walk through plains. I want to see a Mustang all-wheel drive go through the plains. And no, not the fucking Mach-E Mustang. Again with this shit. This thing goes. Because yeah, from what I saw in reports, apparently there's going to be a Mustang electric. They didn't learn from the Charger EV, didn't they? Oh my god. Just, I don't know, I just hope they're using the solid state battery stuff, because if they don't, well, there it goes in the gutter, that thing goes. Because it's got fucked up, because they lost so much funds in the making of the F-150 Lightning, and they're still trying to aim for this whole electric business at the end of the day, even though it's shown that electric is not good to go too. I know there's a lot of people that tried to make a better future out of electric because they read two reports that electric is better and stuff. Have you heard what the production does in the process when it comes to electric cars? They are more polluted than gas cars. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that, but electric cars aren't that much better in the process. Also, I will say, by fumes and stuff, okay, maybe a healthy there. You got me there. It's just the process of making an electric car is a lot more polluted than a gas car any freaking day. It's just without the fumes, you know. That's what the trade-off is, and that essentially what feels like you're driving a big old RC car at the end of the day. I'm gonna flat say that. So yeah. Yeah, understandable, but you know, why some people drive EV cars, it's like, yeah, there's a good to that, there's also a bad to that. It's like one way or another. So far in terms of the healthiest versions out there, I kind of say like the Toyota Prius is one of them, for the most part. You know, it's got that generator CVT noise. At least that CVT doesn't lock up in gears, thank God. It actually just literally keeps going, because on the 2009 Prius, which I was shocked about this, it can go up to 155 miles per hour. So, whoa, okay. Now you got my interest. Which is like shocking as hell. It's like, what the heck? I didn't expect it could do that. And such, but yeah. Yeah, just trying to do this rally one at the end of the day, which is not much at the end of the day. It's kind of surprising they tossed two big bangers for the events of this week, this time around. But yeah, I have things to say about the Spec 3 event list. I'm kind of concerned about that at the end of the day because, I don't know, at one end, yeah, you get a time trial, because I don't know if anyone saw the Spec 3, but they're changing some of the events for the weeklies and stuff. Like, you're going to have a time trial and a mission challenge, and they're going to get rid of the two low down events for those. My only concern to those is how much are they going to pay out, and how good are they going to be at the end of it. Because I know they're going to be short, simple, and sweet. My only concern is how difficult are they going to be, too. Just to get the most prize out of money on that. Yeah, you're going to have the special event, and it sounds like that special event is just going to be there forever now. So no matter what, we're going to have a special event throughout the whole weeklies now. I can't say for this till Spec 3, but it sounds like for Spec 3 though, it's just going to stay like that. And such. So that's from what I'm seeing there. But I gotta go in the pits though. Run out of fuel, because yeah, it does burn a bit on the fuel something. Then again, I got it up to 200 miles per hour. These are not at 200 miles per hour. Their gears though are super tight though. So yeah. For the most part. Just yeah, they're gonna have a time trial, a mission challenge, and a special event, and then 2 random high events, what it looks like. Just 2 random of those. So they're going to be more innovative about the weeklies, and the weeklies are going to be more interesting and stuff. So basically, at this point, I'm going to make a playlist dedicated to the old weeklies here. So I'm going to put all these in one playlist at one point, and then I'm going to put, and once Spec 3 drops, then I'm going to make a playlist dedicated to Spec 3, because at that point, Spec 3 is just completely different. It's not the same as it was back then. Which in turns, in case you're wondering how much I recorded the weeklies, I recorded, I want to say at least 2/3. I won't say 2/3. I would say like the amount I recorded was like 2/3 though. I'll say probably like a third in, and I started recording these weeklies at the end of the day. Because back then I didn't really think of it much that to do record these weeklies or not at the end of the day. Because I wouldn't think if people even will watch these in the first place. And it kind of shows people don't really watch these anyways. I mean, except for like if you want helps and tips at the end of the day. Which, thanks for that anyways, for watching it at the end of the day, but for watching this at the end of the day and such, but it is what it is. So, because there's probably just, you know, better people that just, you know, do it better at the end of the day, or people just want it short and sweet. They don't want the long experience, which is what I'm showing here. It's basically drive the car to the end. I will know I'm not always going to do that though. I am going to cut it at some point. Like, for example, the next one here, I'm going to cut it at some point because it's a bit of a long race. But the point is though, is that I do kind of wonder if I should be short and sweet about things. But I'm not sure. I'm not really sure on that matter. But I don't want to just show the cars. I want to show the inside of the cars and like everything else before, you know, the race ends at the end of the day. Which usually takes about 10 minutes. Usually the case. If I have the time within that event to do it. Because I want to show the view, the cinematic view of the car. I want to show the dashboard of the car. And that such. That's usually my goal. That's why I keep scrolling between vehicle to vehicle here. Even if there might have been points, there could have been better viewings at some points that you may not have realized. Like, let's say I was doing like more crazier drift moments with the Dodge Challenger, what was showing there. Because I think you only saw like the one curve when I did a couple more than that, but by then, when I was recording to that car, it was already up there, so yeah, that's what it is. So, yeah, now I passed the Mustang, and therefore I technically win at this point. I should technically cut at this point, but I didn't realize, so I just kept recording at this point and such. Although I could just turn around and just cut right now, but you know. So to think about for what to say to Spec 3 though, we're gonna have 2 tracks, so finally we're getting tracks, so people, you can calm down. Having Yas Marina Circuit and I'm gonna butcher this one, Gilles Deville or Glendeville or something like that. It's a weird name one, to say that much, but they're both former car tracks, which is interesting. Although the Marina one, not surprised. That one was just bound to. It's just Guinevere, or whatever it's called. Guinevere. Yeah. Guinevere Circuit, something like that. It's a very... It's tongue twisting name. I gotta get used to it at the end of the day. I gotta keep saying it. Guinevere. So it's like... Have it a movie! You know? But yeah, we're gonna have that. We're gonna have, which I am so happy about this one for respect 3 of the cars, because finally we got a Mitsubishi. It's not the Eclipse though. I kind of wish it was. Instead, we got the FTO, which is my other favorite Mitsubishi, because yeah, Mitsubishi had 2 FFs. You had the Eclipse or you had the FTO. The FTO was very Japanese. I want to say just Japanese only because it didn't really sold well here. For one thing. Not sure why, even though I love that car. I love that car in terms of looks. Like, it was like a little sister to the Supra, even though they are nowhere related at all. They just looked apart. They had that weird look apart to them because they were cool design. They had that sharp nose going on. It was just good stuff. Good stuff. Although I would say, you know, smoothed out for Supra's case. But yeah, it just felt like it. It just felt very magical seeing those two stand next to each other. And now you can technically do that once again. Once Spec 3 comes during, I don't know, late December, I assume. I'm assuming late December. It could be early December. It's Christmas morning, yeah! You know, it just kind of sucks though that the Spec 3 update ain't gonna happen until December. It's like, oh god, what were they thinking in that part? I think the only unfortunate thing about this, how long it's gonna take. So we're just gonna be stuck with these updated cars for a good while. So that's why I'm not gonna be so hell bent on showing the engine swap at the end of it. But that is it for that race. Now on to the World Touring Car 700, which is one of the new events at Alsace Village. Which, you know, that may have been the reason why they didn't buy cars, come to think of it. Which I am driving the Bach Mono 2016, but not just any Bach Mono, the Bach Mono with the, I want to say the Suzuki VGT engine swap motor. So it has the V4 Fusion motor in it, or in other words the V8, because they took 2 V4s and made it into a V8, because it is technically a bike motor from the Suzuki Hayabusa, I believe? Something like that, but they took 2 V4s and made it into a V8, making a small V8, like one of the smallest probably. As a result, because yeah, I guess automakers are doing that now, where they're taking 2 motors and fuse it at the end of it, see if it's better or not. And this is one of those cases. So I am driving the Bach Mono with that motor, which I'm just gonna say, this motor fucking broken. Like, this is a broken motor in the future. Like, also I love the gauge because it is just freaking out because it doesn't hit these high RPMs ever at all. So I just love it. It's like, oh my god. Thank god it doesn't make a noise like the Civic, because that would be terrible. But yeah, the Bach Mono with the Suzuki VGT motor is a very, very broken car in the future, I'll just say that much. Because just to say, when I did it with max horsepower, which is like 800 on in a 1400 pound body of a former car built for the road, this thing hits like 270 plus miles per hour. If you so happen to keep that horsepower, although I will say I wouldn't really suggest that because we was burning those tires at that point. But holy crap, is that fast? That is very fast. 270 miles per hour straight away. Think about that. That's, oh my god. That's fast. That is fast for a production car. That is like you usually see that on like the Tomahawk, not really that, but no, when you see that, it's, oh my god, that is freaking fast. Such, but I decided to down tune this to like 200 miles per hour, so like 335 horsepower, I believe is what it was. Which is, wow, it's just, Jesus Christ, it's that good. It's very that good. Like, this is probably a good competitor to the Cappuccino, if you want to know a joke. And how broken that Cappuccino is. Well, just an RX sub motor, which is the weird part. Is that damn broken? But yeah, the freaking Bach motor is just super broken. Like, I think that's the next stage of broken you could go. Because you can buy what is essentially a track formula car with a freaking race car motor, which is, holy shit, that is like super duper broken. I think it's even more broken than the car's motor it originally came from, which is the GT3 Suzuki GT3 VGT car, which is a very insane car because it's kind of funny because the V4 was in the concept car of Suzuki, and then they turned around and stuck another V4 into the car, making a V8 essentially. Because yeah, it is technically not a full V8. It is like a very weird like dual build V8 at the end of the day. It's very weird and very interesting also, because that might be a way to not only keep the car fuel efficient, because you could technically probably just cut off the half of the motor and just let the one side just run. It's in case you just want the extra power, I dare say. And also it keeps the motor not as big as it has to be, potentially. It might be more complicated though, I will say. And that might be where the trade-off is when it comes to making these dual motors and stuff. Because these examples, they aren't technically old. They are technically known. Like, you'll see another dual example motors and stuff. But they also kind of failed pretty bad, so I'm kind of surprised Suzuki's okay doing this at the end of the day. You know, potentially could probably fail. Cause in terms of what I recall, who did do that, I think it was Cyclic Cadillac, who tried to make I think it was like a V6 that you're able to cut the portion of the power by shutting one of the pistons, but it turns out that wasn't a good idea at all. Although, we'll say that was pistons, that's not a whole motor, you're not turning off the whole motor. So, that's probably where it's like definitely different stuff. So, that's probably at least a good part and such. Yeah, in terms of the Grade 4 race cars here, I will say too, I think the only new one I'm seeing is maybe the K-Man. That's a maybe. Nah, I think he's probably an old one. Yeah, he's probably an old one. And again, it does feel like it though. I'm not gonna lie. It just, yeah, it just, at the end of the day, just regular Grade 4 cars. It's nothing really special. You figured the DTM 155 car would show up, since it is a Grade 4. Although, probably the most broken Grade 4, but it exists. It's the worst part. Can't say more broken than these guys, I'm not really sure on that matter. And then there's a Megane Cup car they never really tossed either. Yeah, there's like maybe 2 Megane Cup cars, I believe. I could be wrong, if I just be one. Yeah, Corvette's already in, which I'm not surprised. He used the fast one to burn fuel. Cause yeah, I will say they got the burnage factors a lot higher for this race too. On top of it, because I think it's like 9 times for the fuel and 10 times for the tires. So if you're running racing sauce, like he is also on top of it, and that might be the reason why he pitted too, not because of fuel factor, because his tires burned out. But yeah, I love it because you're going to be seeing cases where they're running balds in the front tires and they can just drive like it's no big deal. Like, not one problem. Because I think, like, you see the RCF I think you might have saw that earlier or not. Just straight up just running balls at the end of the day, which is so. Oh yeah, look at this freaking Toyota Supra running balls. He can just steer just fine. He's fine. How much BS can an AI just show you at the end of the day? My God. Because yeah, if he was running actual balls, he wouldn't be turning very much. Probably be freaking out. And that's my biggest concern about AI is when their tires run out, they don't really show that they're running out at the end of the day. It's like, it's more like they just have a slower, they just get a slower pace over time. That's all they get. They don't get the deterioration factor that we as a player get. And such. Suzuki Swift going in, because yeah, I'm just gonna say the other specialty about this VGT motor, the fact it's a GT3 motor, so, and I think it's a healthy motor for VGT motors, not a very accelerant one, so on top of it, so it's just a very overall broken motor. It's super ass broken. It does not fuck around. I'll say that much. But yeah, so the block mono with the VGT motor definitely gonna win this. So yeah, at some point I'm gonna cut here. I'm just showing the dashboards and stuff. Like I said cut, I'd say cut quickly, because even if like halfway in, we're already basically almost done at the end of the day. Weird part to side. Yeah, just seen this Corvette. I mean, if there's one new candidate for the Grade 4, it's the Mazda 3, because the 10s is not in the races anymore. And in fact, did our Coca Bun got kicked out? Because I noticed that someone else is driving that instead for the Mazda 3. That's the other thing I'm noticing. What the heck? But yeah. It's just kind of hilarious. Like, yeah, they could just race some balls, no problem. That's so BS, guys. Come on, you need to at least make them deal increased wheel spin or something, besides slow them down. So I know what's going on there, and it's not good to show. So, yeah, this is the reason why I show these long plays at the end of it. Or when I say one play, I mean the whole play at the end of it. Yeah, so finally at the pit though. That was like, but yeah, it can run a full 5 laps. Which, the Swift there, which I'm just gonna say, yeah, the real opponent throughout this race is the Suzuki Swift. And my God, is he an opponent, I'll just say. When I get to that showcase, although I will admit, I also fucked up too, because I feel more than I should, because yeah, I need to concern about something that's been very stupid, and it's been there since day one. It's the stupid fuel map thing. That thing does not adjust based on your lean at all. Like, it's not pinpoint when it adjusts. It takes a while when it adjusts. It adjusts based on, I guess, the last calculation what you were on, which, when, in this case, I was on a high lean of 4 laps, and I didn't realize that I needed to fuel all the way, because I relied on the stupid fuel map, and the fuel map told me I needed to be here, when it turns out you do not want to be there because you lose. So yeah, like, thanks for like almost making me lose the race at the end of that stupid fuel map, because I hate the fact it takes a good while till it realizes, oh hey, you're not using the lean, you're going for higher power now. It's like, come on, readjust already. Like, the only way I'm gonna tell that I pass this amount of fuel is I start the lap, then once I get to around the whole lap, I check to see how much percentage got cut off at the end of the day. Like, if it's like 20%, okay, that means I essentially have 4 laps left. If it's like 10%, okay, I have 8 laps in that case. It's just fucking not fun to deal with. It's not very fun at all. at the end of the day. But yeah, this is basically it for me for the back motor at the end of the day. Cause yeah, this is just easy win. This is like, you want a car that's easy to win the 700 World TC. It's this car. This car will do it. This car is so broken. It's so broken because it's high fuel map and the fact they can hit 200 miles per hour with no problems. It's not just oof. Super broken, like I say. Because yeah, because I will say there's another car that has this, which is the KTM. Also has this engine swap too, so that'll be the next one I'm gonna try. And if I see the World Touring Car 800, I'm gonna be trying that on that and see how broken. Because good lord, is it broken for this one? For this case, it's just good god. Heck, it makes me want to beat the World Tour 900. Probably can't, but it damn well probably be close to it though at the end of the day. This car is just ridiculous with this motor. Although it does make me wonder, like at low speed like this, is it in this case should you go with the race motor since you're just hitting 200 miles per hour, or should you go with the regular motor got, which I think is like some kind of Ford motor? The Bachmann in this case, where the KTM was like a Honda motor, I believe. Should you go with that? I am not very for sure. I assume it might be fine for the low horsepower, but for like the higher ups, then you want the race motor and stuff. But yeah, just for what it shows here, though, just marvelous. Just a marvelous performance, considering it's in like 2 minutes on all sauce, which is holy crap. That's actually pretty quick, I'm not gonna lie. But then again, reminder that this is a track car built for, this is a formal car built for the road, so that's the thing, guys. Would I ever own one of these? No, because it's a formal car, so no. Even with the road specifications to it. But yeah, here's the rewards for this week, which is not much. Mostly just money prizes, besides the, you know, the daily ticket here, which I got a pardon from Bugatti. I can go buy the either Chiron or the Veyron, one of the two. It's one of the two. But here's 100 grand, 200 grand, 500 grand. It's just money at the end of the day. So bummer to that. Bummer to that. This thing goes. So overall, this weeklies, I would say maybe a C or B for that most part. But yep, that about wraps us up for this episode of the weeklies. Here's a bonus clip of me driving the GR Corolla with also the Demon motor, because yeah, it's not for Toyotas. You have the Corolla and the Yaris having a Challenger motor. I will show the Yaris at some point, but for now, I have the Corolla just, you know, driving around the dirt at the end of the day. So that basically wraps up for this episode here, people. I'll see you guys all next time. You guys take care and enjoy the rest of this teaser. Till then, see you now.